I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. In this special edition, we're coming to you from Buenos Aires in Argentina, this vibrant Latin American city located in a region that seemed to be particularly dangerous for women, given the high number of gender-related killings. For instance, here in Argentina alone, a woman is murdered every 34 hours. But we're going to meet some of those who are determined to make a difference. This is probably the most iconic image one has of Buenos Aires. That, of course, being the tango dance, which represents the passionate relationship between a man and a woman. But there's a dark side to the male-female dynamic in this part of the world, with Latin America being home to 14 out of the 25 most dangerous countries for women.
Coined by feminist author Diana Russell in 1976, the term femicide defines the intentional killing of females by males because they are female. It covers two types of crimes: intimate femicide, which is committed by a current or former partner or a family member, and which represents 38% of all murders of women, and non-intimate femicide, which is committed by a stranger. Latin America, and in particular Central America, have the highest femicide rates in the world. El Salvador tops the list, with 524 women killed in 2016, including 41 in October alone, one every 16 hours. Next come Honduras and Guatemala. In the state of Mexico, where 220 women are killed each year, only 1 out of 10 offenders end up in prison. The phenomenon has become so widespread that femicide is now a legal term in many countries: El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Mexico, Nicaragua, Chile, Costa Rica, Colombia, Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Venezuela, Brazil, Panama, the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. In Argentina, femicide is considered an aggravated form of homicide since 2012 and is punished by life in prison.
Do you know what femicide is?
Yes, femicide is the act of killing a woman because she's a woman. Yes, Latin America is more dangerous than other countries because of machismo.
It's caused by violence coming from men who think they're superior, or I don't even know what they're thinking. I think this is a problem the whole region has to solve.
It's difficult to be a woman. The streets are not safe for women, and even less for a child who has to grow up in such a macho society, which does not value women as they should be.
I totally agree. The mentality needs to evolve, but it will take time. But I hope it will change soon for the well-being of women and everyone.
Femicide is a problem that cuts across all layers of Latin American society. We now are going to head to Mexico, in particular the southeastern state of Puebla, where the recent brutal murder of a young female student by a taxi driver became a national tragedy. Our France 24 team has sent us this report on how many universities across the region have taken dramatic steps to ensure the safety of women.
All these young people have gotten on their bikes for a dark journey. They're riding through the streets of Puebla to the places where women were last seen before being murdered. The bar where Mara Castillo took a taxi before being killed by her driver. The intersection where Mariana was assaulted and shot.
I'm happy to see how many people have come together today, but I am also angry that we are all here because so many femicides have happened.
Everyone here is outraged over an alarming trend. In 2015, there were 58 femicides in the state. In 2016, 85. And so far this year, there are already 94 cases. So this university is taking action.
This is a violence meter. It's a learning tool, like a ruler, to explain levels of violence using real-life examples. It starts with things like jokes or insults and ends with a murder of a woman.
Annette Young runs the Center for Gender Studies at the upscale Ibero University in Puebla. It was an idyllic, calm setting for simply grading exams until last March, when Minerva, a student of hers, was stabbed to death by her boyfriend.
It was really tough. Not only was she a law student here, but her boyfriend was as well.
Their classmates suddenly saw that violence meter in a different light and had to face their own experience with it.
I think a majority of people, including me, have probably reached a 6 or 7. That means to blame or to discredit a woman.
In my case, it has reached an 18 or 19, pushing, pulling, scratching and pinching. I'm surprised I wasn't able to realize the level of violence I'd experienced. It was really serious.
Some women aren't waiting to see if measures like this are enough. A design student at Ibero has taken a more combative approach. Pepper spray hidden in the heels of these shoes.
Bueno, el calzado está pensado únicamente estos prototipos para aquellas chicas que salen de fiesta.
I designed these prototypes thinking of women who are going out to a party or a club, because those are the environments where this violence most often takes place.
Es por eso que realicé este tipo de calzado.
Dita is just now starting to promote this new innovation, but feels she may be too late.
I think Mara could have defended herself with this.
In Mexico, 92% of femicides are perpetrated by someone close to the victim, often a boyfriend or an ex. And it's a phenomenon hitting every social class.
In 2015, a group of women here in Buenos Aires decided enough was enough. They created the movement Ni Una Menos, or Not One Less in English. It's a campaign directed to end violence towards women. It's become so successful, there are now chapters scattered right across Latin America. Earlier, I went to speak to one of its founding members, local journalist Jimena Schinker. Jimena Schinker, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Tell me, are you surprised by the level of support your movement has attracted?
Well, actually, we are not surprised, but we are amazed of the empowerment that women movements have in Argentina and the rest of Latin America. Feminist and the women movement in Argentina has a long story. It's not just for a few years that women have been working for women's rights in the country and the rest of Latin America. So that is why we are not surprised. But in fact, the visibility in media and the rest of the newspapers and the social networking has been for the last few years. And that's something new.
Why are gender killings so widespread in Latin America?
The real problem is a cultural problem because there is also economic, institutional, psychological, emotional violence against women.
Tell me a little bit more about the specific cultural issues that you face in this region.
The problem is an education that is based that women are objects that can be used to reproduce humanity or used for consuming. The roots are in the education and in the culture. But the problem is an everyday problem in our own homes, on the streets, when a man feels that he has the right to say anything to a woman on the street, it's an expression of violence against women. It's an expression of gender violence in a more symbolic way.
But in 2012, Argentina passed legislation declaring femicide to be a crime. But have things actually changed since then?
Well, the difference is that now the crime against women, femicide, is sentenced with a life sentence. That is different because previously the sentence was just for an homicide that was 8 years or so. But in fact, there's no difference in the reduction of the crime in Argentina. We are talking about the same amount of women being killed every day, and the roots, the educational roots, have not changed a lot.
Which is leading me to my final question, Jimena. What will it take to make things safer for women here in Latin America?
The judiciary system has also to change so as to detect gender violence in all its ways, in all its forms. Economic violence, institutional violence, psychological violence, and so as to prevent femicide. And that is something that we have to educate people in the society so as to change their mind, so as to change the way they see women and try to look for equality among women, men, trans people, every kind of people in the society.
Jimena, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's it for this special edition coming to you from Buenos Aires in Argentina. If you like what you've just seen and you want to comment on it, you can connect to us via Facebook, that being, of course, France24.51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. Thanks for your comments and suggestions so far, and please keep them coming in. So until our next show, bye for now.